buddy. You gonna help me film? No? He changed his mind. Hey everyone, so today I have a bit of a different video from my usual. I'm actually going to show you how I crochet. I'm going to start off, I think I'm just going to show you a tutorial of how I made this crochet afghan. I always call them blankets, but technically they're afghans, so excuse me if I use the wrong term, but this is an afghan I just finished. It is actually a baby sized. Not sure if you can tell, but it is a baby size afghan. You can use the same pattern to make a lap one, a queen size. You can basically make it as big as you want. But I'm just going to show you the basics of how to create a granny square, which is just this typical square right here. I will show you how to make a granny square using the color pattern that I have for this afghan, and then I'll show you how I joined them and how I did the border as well. I haven't actually trimmed all of my ends yet, so you will see some little ends hanging off of the afghan right now, but that's alright. It's a work in progress, and I just finished this day before yesterday, and I figured I would show you guys how I did it, because when I was first learning how to crochet, YouTube was my go-to source. It's how I taught myself, or how I had people teach me, was on YouTube, and I just really think there's never enough crochet videos out there, because everyone wants something different. So I've combined a lot of techniques from other YouTube videos and just my knowledge of crochet now that I've been doing it for many years to make this afghan. So yeah, I will let you guys know what you need to make an afghan like this. And yeah, let's get started. So this afghan is constructed of a 7x7 grid of these squares. And it has, I used cream in between all of the squares, and I think that finishes it off very nicely. And I also did cream on the border, and then I just picked one of my favorite colors to do this detailed border as well. But you will need to make 49 squares to get this baby-sized afghan, and it measures about 41 by 41 inches, depending on how you stretch it, because granny square blankets are very stretchy. I really like how these, the way that I did the intersections makes it not so stretchy. One of the previous quilts I made, I connected it in a looser way, and it stretches a lot. So this helps keep its structure, and I really like that about it. So let's get started, and I will show you how to first make the block. Okay, so to get started, you're going to need some scissors. You can feel free to buy any small fabric scissors or yarn scissors. That's what I usually like to use. Can't find them right now. And if you're just starting out, there's no need to invest in specialty scissors. Any will do. And then you need a crochet hook. This crochet hook is size I, which is 5.5 millimeters. I like to use this size with the kind of yarn I'm using, but you can feel free to use any size yarn and any size hook that you like. Just keep in mind it will change the size and shape of your final project. I think a size H would work really well for most people, but I crochet really tightly, so I decide to use a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And you will need some Hobby Lobby I Love This Yarn brand. That is what I like to use. The I Love This Yarn brand is very soft, and it feels really nice to work with, and it's a good price. I know Walmart sells yarn as well. I think it's called Red Heart. That yarn is really great as well if you don't have access to a Hobby Lobby, but I find that that yarn isn't as good quality-wise. It's a little bit harder to crochet with, and it's not as soft in your final project. I actually mixed the two in this afghan, and you can definitely tell a difference in feel between them. This red one right here was from Walmart, and it's just not as soft as the other one. So this yellow, I mean, I can just tell right now feeling it. It's a nitpicky thing. I just wanted to point that out. I Love This Yarn brand. If you don't have access to a Hobby Lobby, I recommend any Lion brand yarn is really nice, or whatever you can get your hands on will work great. This is a very forgiving project. So getting started, you are going to pick what you want for what 2 colors that you want your square to include. The way that we work this pattern, we start in the middle, then we do another layer in a different color, and then we go back to the first color for a layer, and then we go back to the other color, and so on and so forth. So what color you have in the center, there will be 3. So there'll be more of that color in the square, and then there will be 2 of the secondary color. So to get started, we're going to work on the center, and I'm going to start with this nice teal green for the center. This is called a granny square. If you've never made a granny square before, that is fine. I'm just going to pull out some yarn, and we'll get started. So if you're a crocheter, this will be a little bit remedial for you, but I'm going to show you how to do this as if you're brand new to crochet. So to start off, we're going to create a slip knot around the hook just to start the stitch. And here's how you do that. You will take the yarn, you'll lay it over your hand like this, and then I like to wrap it around my 2 fingers. You see how you're creating an X right there, and I'm just holding this with my thumb. And then you're going to take the back end and you're going to pass it through here. Like that. And you'll pull tight. And now you have a slip knot. And what that allows you to do, if you just stick your hook, in there, is you can just tighten it up. I hope that made sense. I'll show you again. Slip knots are nice because you can just pull them and they come off. So you'll take this yarn like this, wrap it around your 2 fingers, creates an X, and then you'll just pass the yarn through. And you'll pull tight. Don't pay attention too much to how the knot looks before you pull it tight, because that will confuse you. So that creates a nice knot on the hook that you can tighten and untighten as much as you please, which works really well for crochet. Now we're going to chain. This is how you create a chain for a crochet project. All you have to do is wrap it around and pull through. We're going to chain 3. Again, I'll show you. You wrap it around, you hook the yarn, and you pull it through. So we're going to chain 3. See, that's 1, 2, and this is a 3rd. So this is how we're going to create the circle. Now we're going to slip stitch. You stick the needle through that first loop. Did you see that? See this first loop on here? You're going to stick the needle through the loop, and then you take the yarn, wrap it over, and you will pull it through both loops on your hook to create a slip stitch. Alright, so I keep my thumb in this center hole because that's where we're going to be working next. We're going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. And then that is going to count as our first little stitch on here. I'll show you again what that looks like. We're working in clusters of 3. So as you see, there's 3 stitches here. If you can see that, 1, 2, 3. There's 4 clusters of 3 in the center circle. So this counts as the first cluster. And then we're going to create that counts as the first stitch, which is called a double crochet. So we're going to make a double crochet now. We yarn over, which is just putting the yarn over the hook like that. And then we're going to stick it in the center of the hole. And we're going to yarn over again and pull up. So now we have 3 loops on the hook. To create this double crochet stitch, you will yarn over again and pull through the first 2 loops. Now there's 2 loops on the hook, and you'll yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops. Oops, I missed a little piece. There you go. So now, as you can see, there's 2. And now we're going to create the 3rd, so you will just double crochet again, and I'll show you how that goes. Yarn over, You're going to stick it through the center loop, pull the yarn up. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over again, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over again, pull through 2 loops. So now we have this cluster of 3. Oop. I'm just going to pull some more yarn out. Okay, so between the clusters, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and this will create a corner for us to work in later. And now we're going to do 3 double crochet, just like over here. Yarn over, stick the needle in the hole, pull the yarn up, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, and that's a double crochet. Repeat again, yarn over, through the hole, yarn over, pull it through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through those 2, and that's 2 more double crochet. One more time, yarn over, stick it in the hole, yarn over, pull through. Now there's 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, there's 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, and there's your second cluster. Now we're going to repeat that again 2 more times to create 4 on this little middle section. You'll yarn over to chain 1, yarn over, chain 2, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochet. That's 3 on the center section, and as you get a hang of this, you will be able to crochet faster and at a different pace. So I'm going to finish it up by doing 2 more chains and then 3 more double crochet into the center hole. It's 1, 2, and 3. And then, as you can see, we have these 3 corners. We just need to turn this into a corner, so we will chain 2. And now we need to join this corner over here. We need to join this corner to here. So we will just stick the hook, through that first stitch. You see that? You just stick it through that first stitch. And you're going to yarn over, pull through both loops. And this leaves you with your perfect section. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. I'm going to show you what I think will be easiest for beginners. So I'm just going to fasten this off. If you know how to go ahead and move on to your next color, feel free. But for beginners, this is much easier to just cut it here. You'll just leave a couple inches of a tail. And you're just going to yarn over, pull through. And you'll just pull that tight. We will weave in the ends at the end, so you can just leave these 2 dangling. This is from the starting, and this is from the end. So now we have created this middle section. We've created this middle section. And now we're going to work on the next section, which goes around like this. And basically, you're just adding one more cluster on each side per row that you go up, if that makes sense. So you can pick to do a different color pattern, but to do the one I'm doing, we're going to switch to another color now. And I'm just going to unravel a bit of the yarn, and we will do another slip stitch. Alright, so now that we have the slip stitch, we need to start the new color onto this side. So what we're going to do, I like to start in the corner I finished in. It just kind of keeps it looking more uniform, but you can start in any of these corners. You're going to stick the needle in the hole, yarn over, pull through, and then you'll just pull that loop through. So that's another, you just slip stitched onto the beginning. And now we are going to work each side. So you're going to chain 3, chain 1, 2, 3, and then that counts as your first double crochet. So in the corners, we are creating 2 double crochet clusters. So you're going to double crochet 1 in this hole right here, and then double crochet another, and that is a cluster of 3. And then this is what we're going to do for every corner. You'll chain 2, 1, 2, and then you will double crochet 3 more into the same hole. Two, and I lost it. And 3. So now you have 2 clusters of 3 with 2 chains in between. And that creates your new corner. And then we'll go to the next corner. You're going to chain 1 so that it will have enough space to get over to this hole. And then you're going to yarn over, and you will chain 3 into this next corner. 1, 2, 3 double crochets into that corner. And then you'll chain 2 and double crochet 3 more times. 1, 2, and 3. See that? And then again, one more time, I'll show you how to do it. You're going to chain 1, and then you're going to move on to the next corner, and you're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. You will chain 2, 1, 2, and then do 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you'll just repeat one more time for this final corner. Chain 1, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 3 more double crochets in this corner. 1, 2, and 3. So now, as you can see, we have 2 clusters of 3 in each of the 4 corners. So you'll chain 1, and we just need to connect it back over to this side. So you'll stick your hook into this stitch right here, and you will yarn over, pull through both the loop. That's to slip stitch it on. And then we're done with this color for now, so we're going to snip it. Just leave a little tail, and you will yarn over, pull that end through, and make it tight again. So now we have finished the second row. Yay! So for the first row we had 4 clusters of 3, and the second row we have 8 clusters of 3. So really you're just adding more to the corner each time. So for the next side, we will actually have corner clusters and center clusters, and I'll show you what that looks like now. Now we are moving on to the third row. which is going to be this row right here. And I'll show you how to do that. We're going to create another slip knot. On the hook. And then we are going to go into a corner section. You can go into wherever you like. Like I said, if you're experienced crocheter, I like to stay on the same corner that I went into last time, just for consistency throughout the project. Again, feel free to join however you like if you have experience. But this is the easiest way to explain it to newbies. So we're going to go into this corner right here, stick the needle through, and we're going to do a slip stitch again, which is just where you're going to yarn over, pull it up, and then you're going to pull it through. If I can get it through the loop. It's very hard to do this with the camera in the way, so apologies for that. It's making me a little rusty looking. So I slip stitched into that first corner, and then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, this counts as a double crochet. And then we'll do 2 more to finish off this cluster. So we'll do 1, 2. By now I'm hoping you have the double crochet down and chaining as well. So I did the 3 chains, 2 double crochet, and now I'm going to chain 2. And then we're going to do 3 more double crochet in the same corner hole. 1, 2, and 3. So we just completed a corner cluster, which is what we did in the last row, only corner clusters. But now we are going to move on to the next hole. So for this one, we're going to chain 1 to help us get over to this hole. And then we're just going to do 1 cluster of 3 in this hole. So we're going to double crochet 1, double crochet 2, and then the final and third double crochet. I do apologize, I think someone outside is mowing their lawn and I hope you cannot hear it. So we did, again, 2 clusters of 3 in the corner, and then just 1 cluster of 3 in this side right here. And now we're going to chain 1, and then we will move on to do the same corner cluster we've done before. So we'll do 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2. Apologies if I'm moving fast for you. Feel free to pause the video if you need to take any time to catch up. I'm sure you will if you're a beginner. I have not always crocheted this fast. I've been crocheting for many years now. So you will do 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. So now we have the 2 clusters in that corner. I'm going to chain 1 and do 3 clusters in this next one. 1, 2, and 3. You'll chain 1 and you'll do another corner cluster. I'm going to speed through this next part for you just to keep the video a little bit shorter. Feel free to rewatch if you can't get the hang of it. And I think that that'll be a little bit more clear. Rewatch. That's the key to learning how to crochet. Okay, now I'm back. I have finished going around the edge, and I did 1 final cluster of 3 in this center one, and we just need to connect it to this side. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to insert the hook at the top of this stitch right here, just right there. really hard to do when I'm looking at the camera screen. I'm just gonna stick the hook in there, and we will do a slip stitch. And again, change colors how you like. This is the easiest way for beginners. Just gonna cut the yarn, and then we're going to pull it through the loop and tighten. And there we have finished row 3. We are switching back to that second color, this really pretty, what would you call this, maroon? I guess it's a purpley maroon. And we are going to work on the next row. I'll show you for reference here. We finished row 1, row 2, which is this navy, row 3, the light blue, and now we're going to work on row 4. There are 5 total rows of these clusters for this project. So we are going to work on row 4, and it's very similar to row 3. You're going to do a slip stitch, just like before. Put the hook through. And again, I like to go into the same corner I've been going into for consistency. We're just going to stick the needle in there, yarn over, and pull through to slip stitch onto that corner. So now we're connected to the project again. We're going to do a corner cluster. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we'll double crochet 2 to finish off this first cluster. 1, 2. Again, go back and rewatch if you need to the previous rows where I explain how to do that. And then we're going to yarn over, chain 2, and then we're going to double crochet 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Just completed the corner cluster. Now for this row, it's exactly the same as the previous row. However, you have an extra hole here. Because we're doing 2 in the corner, it just creates more as we go around. I hope that makes sense. So you're going to chain 1. You'll do a cluster of 3 double crochet in here. 1. Need more yarn. So that's 1 double crochet. 2, 3. Chain 1 and do it again. 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. So see, it's exactly the same as the previous row. You're just going to have an extra cluster of 3. You'll chain 1 and then you'll do another corner cluster. I'm going to speed through this process for you just for speed of the video again. Okay, now I'm on to the final cluster. I'm going to, there's some yarn in there. I'm going to do the last 3 double crochet in the final hole. 1, 2, and 3. So, there's all this extra pieces down here. I'm sorry if that's confusing for you. But we are going to now connect it to this side. So you just chain 1 and you're going to stick your hook in here like the previous rows, yarn over and pull through for a slip stitch. Done with this color for now. I'm going to cut it and you're just going to yarn over and pull that loop end through the final loop and pull tight to tighten the knot. I'm going to just pull that yarn back there. So that is the end of row 1, 2, 3, row 4. And we have one last row of these double crochet clusters, and it works exactly the same as the previous row. Going to go back to our original color. Where's the end? Go back to the original color, and we're going to do a slip stitch just like before. Again, I'm going into the same corner I went into before. And I'm going to slip stitch to connect. Yarn over, pull through. Going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Counts as the first double crochet. And we're going to do 2 more to finish off that cluster. 1, 2. So that is now 3 double crochets. Chain 2. And do 3 more double crochets, just like every other corner we've done before. 2 and 3. Then we chain 1, and as you can see, this is exactly like the previous row, but there's 1 more side hole. So basically with this granny square pattern, you could continue going infinitely, as many rows as you'd like. For this pattern, I'm doing 5 rows, alternating colors, but you can make these squares as big or as small as you like. Well, I mean, they can only be, 1 row small, so can't go negative. But yeah, so I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the previous row, but there'll just be 1 more hole that we need to work into. So we'll do 1 cluster of 3 double crochets in this hole. There's the 3, chain 1, and then in the next hole we'll do 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. There they are. Chain 1, and then the last hole. 1, 2, and 3. Then you'll just chain 1, and we're on to the corner again. So I'm going to again speed through this really quickly for you, and I'll meet you when I get back over here. Alright, so now I have made my way all the way around this final row, and I've done this last cluster of 3 and chained 1, and now we're just going to again slip stitch just like the previous rows, turn over, pull through all the way, and we're going to snip the thread. Going to snip the thread. It's hard to do with my left hand. Yarn over, and we're going to pull through both loops. And there you have it, a completed block. Now I'm going to show you in the next little episode, I don't know what to call it, next installment of how to make this Afghan, how to add the border around and then how to connect the squares to each other. However, if you'd like to, go ahead and make all 49 blocks just like this. You can watch the tutorial as many times as you like to get the hang of it. I know I definitely had to when I first started crocheting, had to rewatch over and over again. So I hope that this was really helpful for you beginners. For anyone who knows how to read a crochet pattern, the instructions for the block are listed in the description box. I wrote them up myself. So yeah, make sure you go ahead and make all 49 or however many you need to make the size Afghan you're looking for. But if you're following the tutorial, it's 49. And yeah, I will see you in the next video for the next step. I will let you know I do go ahead and add the next step to all my squares as I'm going. It makes it easier for me, but you do however you please, and I will see you next time on my next video for the next step. I will let you know that this also just makes a good pot holder. Not really a pot holder, but one of those hot pads to rest your casserole dishes on. You would just weave in these ends and snip them off. But I will show you how to do that later. So you'll make all 49 now, and I will show you the next step on our next video. I will see you guys later. Bye. Lobby, I love this yarn brand. Can you stop, cat? Titan! Come here. My favorite yarn to use is this Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn brand. Oh my gosh, cat.